I announce weekly podcast for the COVID-19 LST report. The week of February. No, it's not February. It's for February the 1st. For February the 1st. Let's get into it.
The report for the week of February 1st, 2021.
Epidemiology.
Voices singing. Okay, this is gonna kill me. I have like Christmas music stuck in my head. This is terrible.
What does the literature...
No, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I just want this clutter.
What does the literature say of...
Voices sing and let's be jolly. Oh my god, this is gonna kill me if I end up singing this for like however long this will be.
Epidemiology. What does the literature say about the mask usage against COVID-19?
Oh, I want to know.
A large international interdisciplinary group summarized the evidence that supported mask wearing to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. They reviewed direct epidemiological evidence, population-level impacts, transmission characteristics, laboratory-based source control experiments, personal protective equipment efficacy research, sociological considerations, and implementation policies. Authors conclude all evidence indicates that mask wearing effectively reduces viral droplet transmission.
Dope.
And should be encouraged by officials to help minimize the spread of COVID-19.
Shocking. No, I think it's good that they put that out there, but it's just like, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to get political on here.
COVID-19. Minimize the spread of COVID-19. Immunologic.
Yeah.
Immunologic response against SARS-CoV-2 may be compromised in multiple sclerosis patients. A case-control study of 48 suspected COVID-19 cases may be compromised in multiple sclerosis patients. A case-control study of 48 suspected COVID-19 cases patients. A case-control patients. A case-control study of 48 suspected COVID-19 cases and 45 COVID-19 positive cases conducted at the MS Center of Catalonia MS Center of Catalonia in Barcelona, Spain, found similar incidence and outcomes of COVID-19 and outcomes of COVID.
Shouldn't have done that. I think it's this. Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens. Edit that. Agent new.
Outcomes of...
No, we didn't even get it. Okay. Then where is it? Oh, it's this.
Outcomes.
No, it's not. Okay, it's not going to be one single wave, probably.
Outcomes of COVID and outcomes of COVID found similar incidents and outcomes of
Okay, it's quieter.
outcomes of COVID-19 and outcomes of found similar incidents and outcomes of COVID-19 incidents and outcomes of COVID-19 in MS patients compared to the general population.
Okay, since I just made it quieter, I'm calling it good.
However, far fewer MS patients on long-term anti-CD20 therapies created SARS-CoV-2 antibodies than patients not on these medications, suggesting that the specific patient population may be at a higher risk of COVID-19 reinfection. It is unknown if this immunosuppressed population would be unable to generate immunity from the COVID-19 vaccines as well. The chronic neuropsychiatric sequelae of COVID-19 continue to raise questions.
I want to know the questions.
A literature review conducted internationally during 2020 by the CNS SARS-CoV-2 Consortium found that varying autoimmune reactions found that varying autoimmune reactions and nausea and delirium in COVID-19 patients suggest potentially long-term implications for central nervous system disorders. While immune profiles, age, and activity levels may explain variations in the effects, long-term evaluation will be performed to properly understand post-infectious biological changes in the CNS.
I think that's a new thing. I think it is.
A multidisciplinary team of researchers from various hospitals used the stem cell donor registry in Germany to conduct a cross-sectional study among 6,257 COVID-positive patients. They found that
What was that?
They found that blood group A was a risk factor.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm AB positive, but I think that people with A blood type is getting hit harder.
For contracting SARS-CoV-2
That's what I'm saying.
When compared to blood group O. The data also demonstrated that blood group B was associated with higher risk of severe respiratory tract infection and respiratory hospitalizations compared to blood group O.
Well, yeah, blood group O is universal, or maybe that's just only O negative.
These findings provide insight into the association between genetic variants in ABO blood type genes and risk for COVID-19 infection, as well as associated severe disease complications.
Whoa, she went ham. I love it.
Researchers from Stanford University used data reported by 30 colleges during the fall of 2020 to assess COVID-19 transmission associated with reopening of campuses. Results demonstrated a spike in infections during the first 2 weeks of in-person or hybrid instruction in
Sorry about that. Okay.
in nearly half of the institutions, with peak 7-day instances well above 1,000 per 100,000 people. They also found that while all colleges were able to quickly reduce transmission on campus, many failed to control the spread of the virus into the surrounding communities.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
These results suggest that the first 2 weeks of college reopenings are an especially high-risk time period,
Yeah, I bet it is.
with potential to cause superspreader events. The authors call for better control events. The authors call for better control of viral spreading when reopening campuses, implementing limitation of the number of students during the initial weeks, regulation of testing, stressing the importance of isolation and quarantine, and continued rapid response regarding outbreaks. The
Geneva Convention. It reminds me of Princess Diaries. I don't know if anyone saw that as a kid. But let me tell you, I watched that a ton as a child. Oh, we have one viewer. Okay, that's cool. Oh my God, wearing this coat makes me look like Big Ed. Jesus. Anywho, I watched that a good amount of time as a child. Okay.
outbreaks. The Geneva Pediatric COVID Group characterized viral co-infections in 51 children infected with SARS-CoV-2 between March 1st and April 30th, 2020. 30 of whom lived in a household with an infected adult.
That sucks.
4 children from a household cluster were co-infected with coronaviruses.
I'm not sure what that is.
HMPV and/or HCoV NL63, while no adult household contacts had co-infections. The frequency of circulating respiratory viruses in all children was lower than in the same period in 2019. Authors suggest that COVID lockdown measures may have reduced circulation of other respiratory viruses. But children remain more vulnerable to respiratory viruses than adults with the same community-level exposure.
Understanding the pathology. ABO blood groups showed minimal differences in SARS-CoV-2 antibody response, but blood group B had higher neutralizing antibody titers.
Oh, you know what I just thought about? I want to see what happens if I club master my voice. Okay, so this is how it is normally.
Hello, and thank you for listening to this week's COVID-19 report, brought to you by the COVID-19 LST team. Here's a quick message from our sponsor. Hi, my name is Sarah Taylor, and I'm one of the podcast producers at COVID-19. It's got that pop peas, and I don't like it.
Okay, anyway. Effects, special, mastering, club mastering.
Hello, and thank you for listening to this week's COVID-19 report, brought to you by the COVID-19 LST team. Here's a quick message from our sponsor. Hi, my name is Sarah Taylor, and I'm one of the podcast producers at COVID-19 LST. I'm here to tell you about the benefits of creating a podcast with Anchor. Let me explain. There's a creation tool that'll allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on platforms such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's free. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Turn it off. Okay. Close. Command A. Special vocal enhancers. Everyone says to use the male voice. I don't think so. I don't want to use the male voice. Why would I want to do that? I don't.
Hello, and thank you for listening to this week's COVID-19 report, brought to you by the COVID-19 LST team. Here's a quick message from our sponsor. Hi, my name is Sarah Taylor. I'm one of the podcast producers of COVID-19 LST. I'm here to tell you what the benefits of creating a podcast.
So if I go to effects, mastering, this is what I did when I was working at Berg. If I recorded anything personally. Okay, so special mastering is going to be super loud now. Mastering, we're going to put it on there. And look at how it spikes up. Boom! To the moon. My stocks did great today, actually. I don't want to jinx that. I'm knocking on wood there. But I was pretty impressed. I was pretty happy about that. And no, I'm not invested in any of that trendy stock of like GameStop or AMC or Dogecoin or anything like that. Okay, so now we're going to vocal enhancer, female, apply, and it'll bring it back down. Yeah. So let's get
Hello, and thank you for listening to this week's COVID-19 report, brought to you by the COVID-19 LST team. Here's a quick message from our sponsor. Hi, my name is Sarah Taylor, and I'm one of the podcast producers at COVID-19 LST. I'm here to tell you about the benefits of creating a podcast with Anchor. Let me explain. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on platforms such as... I don't like that. We're gonna go redo, edit, redo mastering, redo vocal enhancers. Platforms such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, and many more. Okay, I like that. Okay, so file. Save. Okay. Give me a second. Give me a second. Digging through my phone real quick. Oh, did anyone see the new Cardi B single Up? Because let me tell you, I thought that was good. Okay. Let's get back to it. Sorry about that.
Body titers, a multi-center prospective cohort study involved 202 individuals who were eligible to donate COVID-19 convalescent plasma at the beginning of the pandemic. They found there was no difference in anti-SARS-CoV-2 spike IgA or IgG between ABO groups, but significantly higher neutralizing antibody or NAB titers were present in blood group B at 44%, compared to blood groups A at 25%, O at 20%, and NAB at 0%. These findings suggest blood group B may have higher neutralizing antibody titers after recovery from COVID-19 infection and thus greater protection against future infections with SARS-CoV-2. However,
sorry.
2.
I like his voice.
However, further studies correlating ABO blood groups and disease severity are needed to further support these findings. Micro.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Findings. Microthrombi is a major cause of cardiac injury in COVID-19.
True.
A pathologic analysis conducted of 40 autopsied hearts of patients who died while hospitalized for COVID-19 in Italy found that the microthrombi isolated in COVID-19 patients were richer in fibrin and terminal complement immunostaining compared to aspirated thrombi from percutaneous coronary intervention. In other COVID-19 infected and uninfected patients with STEMI. This is STEMI. This is most likely affected patients with STEMI. This is most likely
Oh, it is called STEMI. I didn't know that.
in uninfected patients with STEMI. This is most likely due to SARS-CoV-2 activation of multiple complement levels. Microthrombi were found to be significantly associated with full myositis in 80% of cases of the overall 14 cases of microsis. These findings suggest the majority of cardiac infections died of COVID-19. Microthrombi, indicating a likely cause of cardiac injury among hospitalized COVID-19 patients, and highlights the need for further studies on the targeted use of antiplatelet, anticoagulant, and anticomplement therapies specifically tailored for microthrombi. Clinical thrombi. Clinical research from France evaluated the viral loads and outcomes of 287 patients hospitalized with SARS-CoV-2 between March 3rd and April 5th, 2020. They found a median viral load of 4.76 to the log 10 copies per reaction on the initial upper respiratory swab emission, with no difference between survivors and non-survivors respiratory viral load measurements were not predictive of in-hospital mortality or disease severity. Authors conclude there is no correlation between the viral load and disease severity and suggest severity and suggest individual comorbidities and immune responses to the virus contribute more to the outcomes. A review from Denmark examines the cytotoxic effects of SARS-CoV-2 on capillary function and the subsequent hypoxemia, which initiates a cycle of hypoxia-driven endothelial damage that may explain long-term complications of COVID-19. The authors investigate angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, or ACE2 receptors, pericyte integrity, endothelial surface lining by calyx, neutrophil migration, and microthrombus in relation to systemic hypoxia secondary to COVID-19. The authors conclude with a discussion on long-term hypoxia, serotonin synthesis and mood disorders, and emphasize the need for biomarkers of capillary function in order to quantify the effects of SARS-CoV-2 on capillary function. Function.
Transmission and prevention. Further robust research is necessary to deduce the link, if any, between COVID-19 vaccination efficacy and obesity. Researchers from Harvard Medical School, Massachusetts General Hospital, and Conscience Health Pittsburgh refute previous speculations that obesity could be associated with reduced efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines. Data from phase 3 vaccine trials show Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has 95.4% efficacy in people with obesity compared to 94.8% in people without obesity, and that the Moderna vaccine has an efficacy of 91.2% in people with severe obesity and 94.8% overall. Since obesity is one of the most significant risk factors for severe outcomes from COVID-19, the author suggests that ongoing placebo-controlled vaccine trials designed with the necessary power for detecting differences among classes of obesity are important for post-vaccine risk stratification and public health strategy. A nanomechanical study done by researchers in Canada and China tested SARS-CoV-2 survival on 4 different surfaces. They used the spike protein on the outer surface of the SARS-CoV-2 variant, which is responsible for the transmission via fomites. And they found that they survive best on polystyrene, then stainless steel, then gold, then on glass, suggesting that fomite transmission of SARS-CoV-2 is prevalent and that more surfaces need to be tested to get a better understanding for both prevention and tracking transmission of the virus. Statisticians from the National
Oh, wait.
strategy. A nano
Jeez, I fallen asleep at the job.
styrene, then stainless steel, then gold, then on glass, suggesting that fomite transmission of SARS-CoV-2 is prevalent and that more surfaces need to be tested to get a better understanding for both prevention and tracking transmission of the virus.
Agreed.
Statisticians from the National Chiao Tung University in Taiwan
I never had Taiwanese food.
used the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center data dashboard
I wonder if it's good.
to evaluate the relationship between COVID-19 prevalence and mortality from COVID-19 in 36 countries. And COVID-19 mortality, with mortality of 1.29% per every 1,000 increase, though there was significant heterogeneity between countries. The author suggests the prevalence ratio can help detect document infection and emphasize the importance of infection prevention practices to minimize mortality from COVID-19. A virologist from the lab
Okay.
A virologist from the Laboratory of Retrovirology at the Rockefeller University in New York
Oh, that would make sense. I was thinking. Oh, I just hit that. I was just thinking, where was the Rockefeller hospital at? Obviously, it would be in New York by Rockefeller. the ice rink? The Rockefeller Center. Okay. I was like, Rockefeller Building?
Rockefeller University in New York argues against withholding second doses of SARS-CoV-2 vaccines. He suggests that there is not enough evidence that the single-dose vaccination provides long-term immunity, citing data showing 50-fold higher neutralizing antibody titers after the second dose of the mRNA vaccination. The author also raises concerns that insufficient immunity after a single vaccine dose could drive antigenetic drift, leading to antibody-resistant variants.
I think that is a very good point. And that's the last thing we want to do. Like, why would we do that? This is literally the plague game. And I don't like it. Not one bit.
Scientists associated with BioNTech, Pfizer, and Tron GmbH
I don't know what that is.
assess the ability of BioNTech Pfizer mRNA vaccine to induce a neutralizing response against the new B.1.1.7 lineage of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. They found antibodies from individuals previously vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine and show that they neutralized the new B.1.1 strain with a slightly reduced response compared to their action against the native Wuhan strain based on the 50% neutralization geometric mean titer. The author suggests that the Pfizer vaccine appears to offer sustained neutralization of new variants of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. An interdisciplinary group of researchers from the USA, Canada, and Brazil developed a model of SARS-CoV-2 transmission in the United States, assuming 40% vaccination coverage in 284 days. With healthcare workers and high-risk individuals prioritized, and no vaccine given to those under 18, vaccination reduced the overall attack rate from 9% to 4.6%. And adverse outcomes, defined as non-ICU hospitalizations, and mortality, decreased by 63, 65, and 69% respectively.
69! Oh my god. That was so mature.
The author suggests that even low rates of vaccination could reduce the threat of COVID-19 on the United States if non-pharmaceutical public health interventions such as masking and hand washing continue.
You better be wearing your mask, people. The one person watching this, I swear to God, you better be wearing a mask.
Management.
Whoa, Will.
Management. The World Health Organization recommends corticosteroids for patients with severe or critical COVID-19.
Yeah.
An international
Dump Trump
team
got.
of researchers associated with the WHO summarized recommendations regarding the use of corticosteroids in COVID-19 patients based on results from 8 randomized controlled trials with an N of 7,184 patients. This found the use of corticosteroids in severely or critically ill patients resulted in a lower 28-day mortality. However, corticosteroid treatment in non-severe COVID-19 patients showed no change in mortality. These recommendations provide updated treatment guidelines for COVID-19 patients based on disease severity.
R&D, diagnosis and treatments.
No. No. Oh my God.
Microbiologists from Colombia, Venezuela, and the United States.
What is that sound? Let me figure this out. Let me see if I can do this right. Okay. We were at like 12 something.
These recommendations for COVID-19
Protection demonstrated that 63 out of 100.
Okay, she closes it out. I just want to make sure she closes it out. Closes it out. I don't know why that was so difficult to say. Okay, that was quite the burp. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not very ladylike though. Okay, okay, here we go. Okay. Alright, let me look this up again so I get this right. I don't know why this is taking me forever to find. Shouldn't be that difficult. Bum 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 I love that photo. Bum 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 Ba-ba-bum. Okay, this really should be taking me that long to find. The thing is that when I learned about this, I learned about the command buttons for it. I did not hear about it. Okay, here we go. Command P to save the particular sound pattern or noise. Now we have to go all the way back. Save the particular sound noise. Press Control A to select the whole track. Press Control P to delete the previous set noise pattern from your audio. Or go to Effects, Noise Reduction, and do the steps above by clicking. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Oh my god, it's in 20. How did that happen? I swear, the last time I looked at the clock. Okay, Command B. Okay, no, delete. Command P did not do what I wanted to do. Okay, I should do Shift P. Okay.
This found the
I don't know how I feel about the longer. Okay, now there's just Twitch. Okay. Okay. All the way to the end. To the moon. Oh god, I gotta stop saying that. Jesus. Okay, so now we're gonna go Shift P. Let me make sure I don't mess this up.
R&D, Diagnosis and Treatments. Microbiologists from Colombia, Venezuela, and the United States assess whether the Berlin-Charlotte protocol R&D, Diagnosis and Treatments.
Okay, I think this will work. I'm hoping. Because we only have 3 more minutes of this. Wow, of this audio file.
R&D, Diagnosis and Treatment.
Alright, it didn't do what I wanted. That's fine, I guess.
Colombia, Venezuela.
It's hella. If anyone wants to leave a comment or whatever in the medium of which you're doing this, I would be so grateful. I did. And maybe I just need to try it again with something that has a noise pattern. I thought that had a noise pattern. I could be wrong.
Protocol for RT-PCR assays.
Again, this isn't something I'm well versed in, because usually in the past I've done this in a studio.
Detect the new SARS-CoV-2 B117 lineage from the United Kingdom. Using 3,296 full genome sequences, they found that the primer and probes detected 98% of the RDRP, N, and E genes targeted in the protocol, though several sequences missed. The author suggests that while the Berlin-Charlotte protocol can detect most SARS-CoV-2 variants, future variants may evade detection, and incorporating different regions of the viral genome into existing testing could build redundancies that increase the likelihood of their detection. A scoping review conducted by medical institutions and laboratories in New Delhi, India in June 2020 identified 17 articles finding saliva-based molecular diagnostics as a simpler, time-conscious, and less technical alternative to nasopharyngeal swab collection for the detection of SARS-CoV-2. They compared parameters of gene targets, viral load, sensitivity, and point-of-care testing for initial screening in community and hospital-based settings. Salivary testing also allows for simpler self-collection, which decreases the amount of medical staff and personal protective equipment needed for screening settings. This article suggests more robust studies be performed to further assess salivary testing in asymptomatic cases, oral symptoms of infection, and accounting for age, sex, and other comorbidities. Another prospective cohort study from the emergency physicians in Argentina found that self-collected saliva samples may be an accurate alternative to the nasopharyngeal swab in detecting SARS-CoV-2 infections.
That's what I did. I did the spit, but I also did the swab, and the swab didn't go all the way up in my nasal cavity.
Results demonstrated that 63 out of 174 asymptomatic patients in the emergency room tested positive via the gold standard of the nasopharyngeal swab. Was a sample 98% of patients. The saliva samples for the diagnosis of SARS-CoV-2 could be an accurate and less invasive way to test certain populations while conserving PPE and exposing fewer healthcare workers to SARS-CoV-2.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue
Okie dokie. Alright. I can't believe I just said that. Good God. You know, should I? Should I? I think I should. Oh, I don't want to, but I'm going to. Because that would save me a lot of time in the future. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, now let's go to the multi-mix track. Perfect. Okay, so let's hope that this works. So I don't have to keep freaking doing it all the time.
Well, the daily report.
We are your hosts, Smith, bringing you highlights from the report for the week of February 1st, 2021.
Epidemiology. What does the literature say about the mask usage against COVID-19? A large international interdisciplinary group summarized the evidence that supported mask wearing to mitigate
It might be a little too high.
the spread of COVID-19. They reviewed direct epidemiological evidence, population impacts, immunologic response. A multidisciplinary team results demonstrated a spike in infections during the first 2 weeks of in-person or hybrid instruction in nearly half of the institutions, with peak 7-day instances well above 1,000 per 100,000 people. They also found that while all colleges are able to quickly reduce transmission on campus.
Oh, no.
Breaks. The Geneva
Oh, no,
PD.
I thought I did one of these big ones, like... I was like, that's gonna be a bitch to razor cut, but I did not,
Patients with STEMI levels, microthrombi found to be
Okay, maybe I need to edit the one better.
significantly associated thrombi.
Then stainless steel, then gold. Body resistant variants. Scientists
I did it. I can't believe that.
variants. Associated with BioNTech, Pfizer, and Tron GmbH assess the ability of BioNTech Pfizer mRNA vaccine to
Oh. I hope I don't fall. Has anyone seen that TikTok sound? Oh, I hope I don't fall. That's funny. Okay, it's not. Oh, okay.
$284 days. With healthcare workers 4.6%. An adverse out.
Yeah, I really have to edit. That track, the choice one track. Before I publish this.
Percent of these patients. The authors conclude this.
That's all for
Healthcare workers to SARS-CoV-2.
That's way too many keynotes, jeez.
Exposing fewer healthcare workers to SARS-CoV-2.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Okay, file, export, multi-track mixdown, entire session. Okay, so I just thought about this potential issue, if you will, literally just now, like as I finished wrapping up this editing, which is, I guess, good and bad. I mean, good because I wasn't worried about it the entire time. Bad because I should have checked before I even started editing. Anchor FM only allows you to publish one piece of audio under a certain amount of, I think it's gigabytes, for free. I'm not entirely worried because this isn't like, it doesn't have a bunch of like sound bites or anything, but it could be a roadblock if I'm not allowed to publish this for free, since this is one of our longer podcasts that we've done. So that'll be something. Oh, I have two of them. I'm going to assume the longer one is mine. I guess I could look on Descripts. Pow. With that, it's been out watching my slow. I know that's slow. Okay. Maybe next week's podcast. Maybe I could put out a Twitch schedule now that we have a better schedule for our podcasting. I'm kind of excited about that. So watch for the schedule and come back for the next episode, I guess. Feel free to go to covid19lst.org. That's our website. We have a Patreon. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, such as Google. And feel free to give it a listen, even though you just listened to it right now. Bye.